Hey there, everybody. Meteorologist Will Haney here. It is Thursday night, a little late for this Facebook Live chat, so my apologies on that. We were having a little technical issue. Had to do a little reboot of our streaming computer. I'm going to drop my chair a little bit. I'm too tall. I got to sit really low for our camera. But hopefully everyone enjoyed their Thursday. It's obviously so much cooler out there today. We'll touch on that. We got a new drought monitor to talk about. We also have some storm chances on the way this weekend, which we'll detail, and then some heat that looks to build next week. So a lot that we'll cover, and it's been a little bit since I've been on here. Been a little bit since I've been filling in during the week, but thanks for hanging out with me, and feel free to comment any questions, comments, concerns that you may have, and we can get the conversation going. I am going to share this really quickly, if possible. See how Facebook agrees with me tonight. Hello, Jeanette, always from Coldwater. We appreciate you. How are you doing? And once I get this going, we'll be grooving. All right, see how quickly this works. Wow, it's gotten better, I will say. All right. So I was talking with one of our producers, David, and he made the comment that when he woke up this morning, his fingers were tingly, and he said it feels like football weather. And it did a little bit. It was cool enough where it got us that taste of football weather. And he's a big sports guy. So we got, I think, the Lions training camp for some of their rookies, I think, starting in a couple days or something. So almost here. But beautiful scene right now in Grand Haven up in Ottawa County. What's up, Gwen? Hello, Jesse, from the Horse Show Barn. Ooh, exciting. Carla, of course, the sunset is gorgeous from your house. That's awesome. And then Derek, hello from Bitely, Michigan. I'm not familiar with Bitely. I'll have to look that one up, Derek. It is obviously a lot cooler out there today. What's up, Gail in Portage? Temperatures at this time, middle to upper 60s. This is what Michigan summer is all about, if you ask me. Some sweatshirt-worthy temperatures, beautiful sunset, the works. Today was the first day with highs below 80 degrees this July. And in fact, it was the coolest day as far as a high temperature that will go down in the almanac. It was the coolest day that we have seen since June 13th, if you can believe that. My producer, Emily, is calling. So this is important. 1 second. Hey, I'm on Facebook Live. Can I talk to you right after?
You sure can.
Okay. Is it pressing? Are things exploding?
Nothing's exploding.
Okay, cool. I'll tell the people. Okay, bye. Emily Towns, everybody. That's my producer, so I just was making sure nothing was on fire, literally or figuratively. They are the person that's writing the show and organizing everything. But yeah, high temperature today. Here's the fun fact about that too. Those happened mostly overnight, so we actually cooled overnight. Last 12 hours, you can see mostly blanketed in clouds today. There were some few peaks of sun, mainly north of Grand Rapids, across kind of mid-Michigan for a good chunk of the afternoon and early evening, and we're starting to see that clearing finally working its way farther south. Tonight, we'll cool into the upper 50s, so it's going to be a magnificent night to do this, which is shut off that AC, open the windows. Here's a look at your hourly. We're going to fall into those possibly even middle 50s to start the day tomorrow, so a very cool, comfortable overnight. Get some free AC. You know the works. We haven't been able to do that in the last couple nights. Weather snapshot for tomorrow. We may see a few passing clouds in the afternoon. I think we like partly to possibly mostly cloudy by early to mid-afternoon. But overall, I think we should see a good amount of sun, especially in the morning and then again late afternoon, evening. Temperatures tomorrow will be sub 80, so we'll be in the upper 70s. And it will also come with pretty low humidity, maybe a touch more humidity than today, but overall the best day of the week by far is tomorrow. The next 7 days, that is. So definitely take advantage. What's up, Glenn Miller, my man? Glenn Miller, living descendant of the famous Glenn Miller. Somehow, I forget Glenn. I still need to do a story on you, Glenn. We're going to make it happen at some point. I'm actually going to make note of that because every time you pop up on here, Glenn Miller, I'm like, dang it. It's a missed opportunity. That'd be such a cool little feature story. I don't know, Glenn Miller. We got to talk. Okay. Gail, it was cold all day. It was. Gail, you must be a fan of summertime heat. Lily, hello. Robin, what's up? Enjoy. Thank you. Kenny, Kenny, my name is Will. I'm not Keith. But he is normally in this chair at this time of day. So it's funny. It's funny. Sometimes when I fill in for Jeff too, people are like, hey, Jeff. And I'm like, it's just like people are used to seeing people at certain times. So your brain, I don't know. It's interesting. Jesse, that's awesome. Just reading through the names. Ken, what's up? Kenny, you have a great night too. And Cosmo and Wanda Bolt. Those are some sweet names. Cosmo Bolt and Wanda Bolt. Congrats if you're the ones getting married. I would imagine no, though, because if you're already rocking that shared Facebook, you're probably already married. But it is looking pretty darn fantastic Sunday. We'll get to that. Definitely, Glenn Miller. You're the man. All right. Hold up. Okay. So, trying to find what I was looking for. Let's do some housekeeping things really quickly. So we're going to touch on the storm chance this weekend. I want to give you all an idea, a snapshot of our humidity these next couple of days. Tomorrow, the humidity shouldn't be too bad. Saturday is going to be definitely noticeably humid. We're in that just gross category. And then humidity relaxes a little bit Sunday, Monday. And that's why I said Sunday should be a pretty great day for a wedding outside. Definitely better than Saturday. Saturday is going to be super soupy. And then also comes with the chance of scattered storms. So outdoor plans on Saturday as early as mid to late morning through probably the late afternoon and evening. We got to just be kind of on storm watch. Doesn't really look to be a very significant threat of severe weather locally, but nonetheless something we're keeping tabs on. I was going to try and find a graphic, maybe, kind of, sort of. But overall, excuse me, how rude, yawning. I had a big dinner, so I'm like, I need to wake up. Let's see. Where is that dang graphic? There it is. So this is the severe storm outlook for Saturday that I'm going to pull up now. And the bullseye, if you will, is off to our southwest across portions of Iowa, very, very northern Missouri, good chunk of central Illinois, and then kind of like far western Indiana that you see there. That area of yellow is a slight risk category 2 of 5. Wouldn't be shocked if maybe another little bullseye was drawn on there, maybe somewhere in the center-ish of that region. But for us locally, we're not really necessarily in the core area that could see some stronger storms on Saturday, kind of on the outer edge of it. Hence why we're just barely clipped in that level 1 risk. So Saturday, I would say as early as mid to late morning through the late afternoon, there is a chance of some storms. And they're kind of off and on, kind of similar to what we've had as of late, where it's not necessarily going to be obviously storming all day long, but you may have to kind of wait out the rain at times, if that makes sense. So if you do have outdoor plans on Saturday, I just want you to stay aware of that. And we'll watch for any further shifts if that risk starts to shift a little farther north. I think the best chances, though, for maybe an isolated strong to severe storm would be near and south of I-94. Meanwhile, water temperatures, by the way, in Lake Michigan are still really, really nice. So tomorrow, even though we'll only be in the upper 70s, the water temperature is going to be in the middle to upper 70s still. So some really nice water temps. And today there were some dangerous swimming concerns. Tomorrow, not so much. I do want to show you the temperature trend really quickly. So tomorrow we're still below normal as far as average high. We're in the low 80s this time of year. So we're going to be kind of bouncing around that this weekend. So this weekend's near normal. It's next week that we see a surge of heat. In fact, a couple more 90s in store, it looks like next Wednesday and Thursday, specifically in the forecast. Right now, there's not a super significant dip in the jet stream overhead. There will be a slight, if you kind of see this little U shape right here, there's going to be some slight troughing is what we would call that, or like a slight little dip in the jet stream. Generally speaking, some of this is kind of a concentration of slightly cooler air. Then you got obviously much warmer air farther south. But this is the upper levels of the atmosphere, so it doesn't always exactly translate to the ground. But basically, cooler-ish air in play Sunday into Monday before that pushes off, and that allows a big old ridge to start forming by Tuesday and Wednesday. So the kind of middle tier of the country, including the East Coast, I would say, but especially the central U.S. here, is going to be very hot and humid. We'll be definitely, I think, sweating Wednesday and Thursday with those 90s. They could even feel near 100 degrees at times just with the humidity. But we do feature at least some storm chances on the way, but they're kind of scattered. And admittedly, this sort of a pattern, sometimes I refer to these, and I'm not the only one, but we get these what we call ridge rider areas of storms. And so basically, they're kind of storms that form on the outer edge of that heat dome. So kind of on your outer edge of like more significant heat and humidity. So we're talking kind of like in this region. Is it going to let me draw? Here we go. It's not letting me draw. What the heck? I don't know why. Will it let me do this? Let's see. That would be weird. That's not what I wanted. So kind of in this area. There we go. Wow, that was better than expected with my little touchpad. But that's an area where you get what we call ridge rider storm complexes, or MCSs, mesoscale convective systems. Basically, big old blobs of thunderstorms that build up typically in your daytime heat and humidity, but then they can last into the overnight. A lot of times here in Michigan, we kind of see the remnants of those complexes that are forming off to our west. Sometimes they move across Lake Michigan into the overnight, and like we can even see kind of what's left of them in the morning. And that's kind of what's been happening with some of our storm systems as of late. Now, I will say these are notoriously difficult to predict. In fact, if you remember last weekend, we were talking about storms on Saturday for a few days, and then like we barely got any rain, if any, on Saturday. The storms all fired farther west. That was kind of one of these setups where they're just really finicky, and the weather models do not handle these very well. So Wednesday, Thursday is just a time frame to watch. What we're pretty confident is we're probably going to see at least a couple of those little storm complexes work their way on through the region. But whether or not we see anything too strong or just kind of the remnants, a little rain, some showers, that remains to be seen. But it does look like temperatures might trend slightly cooler beyond Thursday, but it's overall looking like a pretty hot week ahead, which is not the best news. Hopefully we can get some decent rain out of Saturday. Let me see this really quick. I think Jeff edited this morning, so this is probably looking at projected rainfall for this weekend, but I'm not positive. It is, but it's not loading, of course. Cool. Oh, it's because it's an older model run. I'll have to play around with that for the shows for later. I will say any storms on Saturday are going to be capable of some really heavy rain just with all that humidity, but kind of like it has been as of late. I keep saying that. They're going to be kind of spotty as far as the real winners and losers as far as rainfall. Speaking of winners and losers is a harsh word. I don't want to call people in Allegan County losers or Ottawa County losers, but what I'm talking about is with rain right now, they are at a bit of a loss. So that area of slightly almost like tan color is technically some moderate drought conditions. So you have abnormally dry and yellow. That's kind of like the precursor to drought. That's where, hey, things are starting to get a little crunchy, but maybe your deep soil moisture content isn't quite to drought levels yet. Whereas once you're in moderate drought, you're starting to see impact to crops and things like that. Watering is a lot more essential for crops, farmers, things like that. So the moderate drought has expanded a little bit in our area, and that's in large part because, and some of you are like, what do you mean drought? We've gotten a lot of rain, but that's kind of the nature of the last several chances of storms that we've seen. Some of us got like absolutely dumped on rain even just yesterday, but it was really spotty. Whereas that region of Allegan, Ottawa, a good chunk of Kent County, even into southern Muskegon County, has kind of dodged a lot of these recent storm systems. So it's just something to keep an eye on. It's certainly not ideal as we're kind of in like the heart of growing season. I did do a story that will air tomorrow on blueberries. It's not really so much about the blueberry crop this year, but more so about some really cool innovation that's happening at Berry Blue, which is a blueberry breeding facility. I didn't even know that was a thing, but it is. It's like the birds and bees of blueberries. But no, they're breeding blueberry varieties in Van Buren County, in Grand Junction to be exact. It's all a part of MBG marketing, which is, so like here's the tier list. Okay, so you got Nature Ripe. You've probably heard of them. They're a nation global fruit producer, or not. I don't think they're the producer. They're just the clamshell that you buy at the store. Okay, so you got Nature Ripe. MBG marketing is a network of over 200 farms across the country, but they, I believe, started here in West Michigan, and they're headquartered here. And they have a huge presence in Grand Junction. They pack for Nature Ripe, and they're like below Nature Ripe. So anyways, they have their own breeding facility, and it's the largest blueberry breeding operation basically in the globe. Like they have the most different varieties of blueberries that they're breeding, like of anywhere else. It's really fascinating. So the reason why they do that is because they're trying to make more resilient and also better tasting, just like ideal blueberries for not only consumers but also growers. So it's a kind of cool story. I had the privilege of going out there yesterday. They had like a little kind of media open house day, which was pretty cool. Got to talk with one of their like plant biologists. She's basically like a geneticist. It's really cool. So be looking out for that story. That was a long plug of that story. I basically gave you most of it, but there's some crazy stuff. Like they breed all these blueberry bushes, and basically for 1 in 10,000 crosses that they create, so a cross between like different blueberry varieties, different of genetic makeup, 1 in 10,000 will eventually become like the next blueberry variety that they produce. So it's really cool. And I hope you'll check out that story. It'll be online and on air tomorrow. It'll probably be published late afternoon. So if you want to read about that, if you're into that sort of thing, in the topic of drought, farming, all those things, feel free to check that out. So that was a very long-winded tangent, but again, keep an eye on Saturday, storm chance. We're cooler on Sunday. Sunday is spectacular. Monday will also be really, really nice. The humidity will go down even more on Monday before it surges right back up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And again, we'll watch for kind of a similar pattern to what we were in. I got to look at kind of the dates of things, but I think it was like a couple weeks ago. We were in a pretty similar pattern where we were really hot, really humid, with just some off and on periods of storms. So, but none of those days are probably going to be washouts. Even Saturday, you can probably kind of dodge some of those storms at times, but you just kind of have to keep an eye on the radar just in case. All right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. Let me read through some of this stuff. Sorry, my comments, if I scroll up, it stops scrolling down. Good evening, Ken. I think I said hi. I am having a good Thursday night, Kenny. Thank you. And Sue, what's up? Cosmo and Wanda. Oh, you've been married since 1996. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Congrats. So that means you've been married 30 years next year. That's exciting. Good math, Will. Let me check your math on that. Marissa, 2 of my coworkers are getting married Saturday. Oh, no. Well, if it's in the evening, Marissa, fingers crossed that the storms are kind of over with by then. It's definitely not a guarantee. I wish I could be like, oh, they're in the clear, but I can't. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for them. I'm not sure where. Neelam, hello. Oh, don't click Neelam. It's a bot. It's a bot. Block. Delete. There's nothing more satisfying than when I get the like hacker comments and then I just delete and block. It's so satisfying. Sharon, hello, in Lansing, Michigan. Mark is an Alaska Skywatcher. That's cool. Bronson Polish Fest Parade and Truck Polls on Saturday too. Oh, heck yeah. I'm not as familiar with the Bronson Polish Fest. There must be is big Polish heritage in Bronson. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. I have a friend from Bronson. Jesse, I'll have to ask her about that. All right. I am skimming through. Jeanette's excited about blueberries, y'all. Let's go. Turn up for some blueberries, Jeanette. And good evening, Sean. Good evening again, Jesse. And Timmy. Timmy. All right. Sunday is looking dry. My friend Alyssa, we are good. Sunday is looking dry. Most of those storms are all going to be pushing south very late Saturday into early Sunday. So Sunday's looking fantastic. Monday's looking fantastic before the heat returns next week. Holy moly, it's late. I got to go. All right. Thank you, guys. Take care. I should be back tomorrow as well. All right. Bye.